Hey, hello and welcome. I'm David Boles, and this is Boles.tv. Hey, it's Boles.television. Now, it's an interesting time to share things with you because we are now broadcasting live and in concert here on YouTube exclusively. And that means, I can hear myself talking.
And this is Boles.tv. Hey, it's Boles.
Okay, so now we know, so far, it's all working. Who knew? We're doing our very best and our very brightest to bring you this live broadcast. Now, we used to multi-stream to various different places, and it sort of worked and sort of didn't work. Facebook was, banning us because they said we were streaming soccer, and Twitter just has become a mess. We really don't want to live broadcast there. I think you have to pay to live broadcast now on Twitter. And on Twitch, Twitch is having some problems. They raised their price of Turbo from, $9 to $12. A lot of their top streamers are really no longer exclusively on Twitch. They do half a day on Twitch, and then they all move over to Kick because Kick is paying them a lot of money, a lot of gambling money, to go over to Kick and stream on that platform. So we're sort of, here doing our thing and wondering where's the best place for us? Where do we belong? Do we want to keep multi-streaming? Sure, but that's expensive. Do we just want to stay on Twitch, our main place, and then, upload our live stream to YouTube later? It's a possibility. Or do we just want to stream directly to YouTube, not worry about Twitch, even though we're affiliated, and just, go for it and hopefully have a higher resolution that is guaranteed? On Twitch, you were only guaranteed HD if, as an affiliate, if no other streamers that were partnered were using the bandwidth, meow meow. So it's not really a great situation, but the fact that, we stream as frequently as we are able due to our ever-pressing scheduling, it just seemed like the better thing to just try to see if we could make it on YouTube. And we use OBS as our software now, which is really terrific. I don't know why it took me a year to make the switch from, Streamlabs to just using OBS on our own. Because it makes it very easy. You can either broadcast to Twitch, or you can just click a button and you're broadcasting all the way to San Jose via YouTube. But it does appear that we've lost our closed captions as far as I'm looking around and trying to see what it looks like, and I don't know why. Let me just see. Captions enabled, current language. I don't know what's happening. They should be working, but I don't see them working on the live stream. Now, maybe that's because, YouTube prefers to caption after the broadcast. I'm not exactly sure what it means. On Twitch, I can say, when we were live on Twitch, the captions were there. They were awful, and they did not make any sense, but at least they were there. So what else has been happening? My skin cancer thing is healing rather well. It's been about 3 weeks. Scab came off. I still have a big divot. But you know what? I don't care. I'd rather be ugly and cancer-free than to be beautiful and dying of some horrible death, which I guess we all are in some ways. Yeah. So the writers' strike is now officially over. Pretty much. I think it has to be ratified, but everyone seems thrilled with the results. The writers got what they wanted. They waited almost 150 days to get what they finally deserve, and it's a big win. Now, in the whole thing, I'm sure you've heard a lot about this, but the thing that I find really interesting is the use or non-use of AI. We're very big into AI here. You can see we have our beta test that we do with our eyes to make sure our eyes with NVIDIA are always looking at you. We use AI voice, which we'll be discussing later in this program. And we use AI, art. So the use of AI in this new writers contract is very interesting. That writers can use AI to assist, but the production houses, the big movie companies, cannot use AI to write a script initially without telling the writers that this is an AI script, an AI idea. So I guess they can have a script created in AI, and then they give it to the writer and say, this is started in AI, now you finish it because you're a human being. Now, what are you going to do? I mean, AI is not going anywhere. And in the next contract, whatever it is, 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, that's all going to be changed. And the writer's room is going to be very different. They've won a big victory now, but the victory later is going to be problematic because AI is going to be in charge and writing everything. And now we have a little bit of a technical problem because I see it's been a while since I've been with you and I did not turn on my lights. So I'm going here, leaving the microphone on so I can talk to you. I'm turning on the lights because it's a fun background to have. And I have to get in weird positions to turn them on, which is why I'm sparing you the look from behind. Hey, we're back. Hey, look at all the lights. Oh, the pretty shining lights. So the Writers Guild got a great deal. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Not with this contract because they won big, but the next contract is going to be very, very interesting and telling. And I'm not sure it's going to be a great thing for the writers. But we don't worry about tomorrow. Right now, we just worry about today. And now, my dear friend, we're going to have a lovely conversation about our new website that the Jana Marie and I have created called ASL Opera. It's our ASL Opera project, and it's finally here. And the website is asl-opera.com. Now, I'm an old guy. I like short domain names. I don't like punctuation in a domain name. I don't like dashes in a domain name. But sometimes circumstance and clarity requires you to use a dash. Because ASL Opera, which we also own, .com, looks like AS Lopera. So you sort of have to, in this situation, separate the two words or it doesn't make any sense. So that's what we did. So here we are. This is what the website looks like. asl-opera.com, the Opera Project. And this is our ASL Opera logo that looks suspiciously like Jana Marie Sweetheart. And hey, speaking of Jana Marie Sweetheart, there she is! What a beautiful monster! From the Magic Flute. So this is what this project is and what this project does. We have discovered, to our great dismay, that we love opera, but not everybody else likes the deaf in the opera house. Unless you live in France or maybe Chicago, which we're going to talk about in just a minute. But let's say in New York City, the Metropolitan Opera, other opera houses, they do not, by default, include any performances for the deaf at all. They think the open caption system is enough, even though it's in English and not in ASL. I guess for aesthetic reasons, they don't want ASL interpreters near the stage because it would interfere with the aesthetic of the performance. Whatever. It's very disappointing. And the ASL-opera.com project is here to change that. We are here to show that ASL interpretation of opera can be a wonderful, grand, important thing that we can celebrate with each other, and that we do not have to diminish the deaf by excluding them from the opera. Now, some opera companies will say, oh, well, the deaf, they don't come. The opera isn't for the deaf. They're not interested. And to that we simply say, oh, well, would you be interested in going somewhere where you're not welcome? Where it's not accessible to you? Isn't the human response to that, well, if you don't want me, I don't want you? You're not interested in allowing me to come and enjoy the opera? Well, I'm not interested in going then. That's a big PR problem. And Met Opera does not even close caption their live streams. And they do a lot of talking on their live stream shows that are not open captioned by the open caption opera lyric system. I understand they're trying to change that, but my question is, where have they been for the last 20 years? Why hasn't that been a prime directive of Met Opera to, if they're not going to offer ASL interpretation, why not offer full opera translation plus closed captions, which have been required for the last 20, 25 years by broadcast television. So streaming services think they don't need it. So this is what Jana Marie and I have been doing. You can go to ASL-Opera and read all of this wonderful information about who we are and what we're doing here. And then this is the wonderful part of it, is we find classic arias like Queen of the Night here on YouTube. And they have to be open caption and in English, because usually they're sung in German or Italian or French. And then the Jana Marie sings that aria in American Sign Language. And the way that we have chosen to do it is, you double click. You click here, and then they both sort of run simultaneously, let's say. So I'm running just Jana's part, so you can take a look at what this looks like. But she's singing along, and I can't play that video on this live stream because it's a YouTube video and we don't own the rights, which is why we don't have any music in these videos for Jana Marie, because she is performing by herself, and that we own the rights to what she's doing now. We do not own the rights to the music or to the other performance that is being shown on YouTube. So what you do is you go to asl-opera.com. You find two videos that are linked together like this one. You click on the Jana Marie video to play, and then right away, fast, sometimes you have to do it 2 or 3 times to get it to sort of sync up, you go down and you click on the YouTube video. And then they will eventually both start together, and then you can see, close enough, how Jana Marie then interprets in ASL these interesting arias that are in a different language with open captions. Now, how does Jana Marie do this? She's deaf, I've heard. Well, she is. And this is a exercise for her in memory. So these, 3-minute videos, she has to memorize what's happening, memorize the words, memorize the lyrics, memorize the motions to match what is being done on stage, and then she presents it here. Now, we went high effect on this one because the Queen of the Night original is very beautiful, very dramatic. Now, if you were live interpreting this in an opera house, Jana would be dressed all in black, and so would the other interpreters, and they would just do it. But because we're doing this and we're having fun with it, Jana said, why don't I just kind of match Diana's Queen of the Night with the makeup and the hair and the la-la-la singing, and present it that way. And I love the idea. She loves the idea. And this is really one of the best performances that we've had so far. And we have 4 of them. I'll show you the other ones, not all the way, but you can see what the idea is. And so the idea that we are now extrapolating is we're hoping that some of these other opera houses will see this ASL Opera project and say, hey, how could we do that in our opera house? And then we will offer them some help. Maybe we'll go and interpret opera for them because it's a different style than just musical interpretation. It's a different style than Broadway interpretation. Opera is high art, and that means it needs to be high art ASL as well. And there you go. So another one, this is the beautiful Jana Marie Sweetheart doing Habanera from Carmen. I'll play a little bit of that for you too. You can see, here we are, flowers surrounded, interesting background, Jana Marie Sweetheart doing her flying. And here's another one, Jana Marie Sweetheart doing Luciano Pavarotti. Now, the reason, why is Jana doing Luciano Pavarotti? Why don't we have a guy doing Luciano Pavarotti? Well, in the deaf community, it doesn't matter. In the deaf community, a woman can interpret for a man can interpret for a woman, a white person can interpret for a black person. It's all okay. We're all equal. We don't play racist, bigoted ideas in the deaf community. The deaf community is open and needs as much help and support as it can get, and we don't disallow people because of what they look like or because of what their gender is. This is what started it all. On July 11, Jana Marie Sweetheart sang this, O mio babino caro, for the folks at the Met to show what we could do. And then we went outside. It was our 35th wedding anniversary, by the way, and it was 110 degrees. And it was hot, and my phone was overheating, but the video is very beautiful, as you can see. So this is what we're doing. Now, if you're interested in helping us, if you're interested in having our help, we are very delighted to entertain you. You can email me, David, at asl-opera.com. I will also put this little blurb that we're talking about right now on this website so you can read it later, watch it later, explain it to your friends. There are links. Is she still going? Yes, she's still going. There are links up here at the top that are important. People are missing this. To articles that I have written about what in the world we're doing with this opera project. And because of this work we're doing on ASL Opera, I contacted our friends at Opera Wire to let them know what we're doing. They appear to be interested in helping us with this project. And, maybe they'll write an article about what we're trying to do and how this is trying to work, because we are not alone in this effort. There are other people who are also trying very hard to offer opera performances to the deaf. There's a theater in France who provides some limited basis interpretation of live opera. And they've been doing it for a couple of years now. They've had interpreters on stage, they've had interpreters off stage. They're trying to mix it up, do different interesting things. And I ask you, why is France so far ahead of the United States in this? Why is France setting the minimum standard of inclusion for the deaf in the opera and not, let's say, the most famous, important opera house in the world, the Metropolitan Opera House in New York City? Why is the Met Opera House doing nothing? It's a very strange question. And when we had our meeting with the Met, I thought that meeting was going to be about how can we make this happen? But it wasn't. The meeting was if we should make this happen. And that was a strange and awful blow. And the people we were meeting with were terrific and wonderful, and I felt very supportive. So the issue really is not with them. The issue is above them. And how do you deal with it? Well, you got to get in the room. You got to get their attention. You have to be convincing. I'm ready. I'm willing. I have a website. Let's go, baby. So one of our good friends, Nancy, lives in Chicago. I told Nancy about ASL Opera. She is a big patron of the arts for many, many, many years. She has written for me for 25 years, Go Inside Magazine, Urban Semiotic, David Boles blogs, excellent work. And she sent me this great article. The Lyric Opera in Chicago is offering a sound shirt that vibrates for the deaf. Now, this is a technological advance that is going to work really well because you're going to get deaf people who say, okay, you don't want me at the opera, but now what's this shirt thing? This vibrating shirt? What now? Hey, I'll come and check that out. It gets them there. I hope they're also doing ASL interpretation at the same time. So this shirt they wear vibrates, sings, and the deaf can feel the performance, feel the orchestra, feel the music more than just in their head and their seat. They feel it transmitted to their body via this shirt. And these shirts cost like $1,500 each. I will put this link in our live stream links on our Discord server, discord.gg/, or is it backslash? BOLES. It'll be in the link. So again, I say, oh my goodness, look, the only opera house in the world who's using a sound shirt happens to be in Chicago. Why isn't the Met Opera in New York City? Why aren't they doing the sound shirt? Why aren't they leading the way? Why is Chicago leading the way? These are the questions we ask because we are a little bit of East Coast snobs here. And you wonder why the second city is in first place when it comes to deaf inclusion. And it's confusing, and it's disappointing, and sometimes it makes you want to scream. And then here's the second one, Axios Chicago. Lyric Opera's new sound shirt lets deaf patrons feel the music. This is sort of exploding in Chicago. People are getting a sound shirt. They're being included. Come to the opera. We'll get you interpreters. You can feel the force of the music. I will post this link also. This is what a sound shirt looks like on our Discord server. You can see the little vibrating things here. Now, who wouldn't want that? And you're probably going to get some hearing people who are going to pretend to be deaf so they can go and experience this fantastic thing. I want to experience this thing. And I am not deaf. Our friend Nancy also sent us this wonderful article. I believe this is in Portland, I believe. Romeo and Juliet that she went to see, and Nancy's just, a patron of the arts. If it's art, singing, performance, plays, she's interested. If it's all on ASL, she doesn't care. She's hearing, she'll go, she'll sit, she'll watch. It's an experience. She lets it wash over her, which is what we're all supposed to be doing as human beings in a caring world. And this is the American Players Theater. And this is a wonderful article that I will also post the link in our live links page on our Discord server of the performance in American Sign Language. It's absolutely fantastic and wonderful, and we need more of that. So there is a renaissance of deaf inclusion. It was big with Deaf President Now and Gallaudet University and the rise of the Americans with Disabilities Act. And then the last, 5-10 years, people say, I don't want to get an interpreter for you, sue me. Or before that, you'd say, I need an interpreter, and they'd say, of course, how fast can we get you one? Not that way anymore, really. Some people say things are going backward and not forward, which is a terrible thing. But slowly with the sound shirt, slowly with ASL-opera.com, slowly with the movement in France, slowly with the movement in Chicago, maybe things are going to have a renaissance. Maybe people are going to say, hey, the deaf should be included in these things. They're the last line of defense against inclusion. Oh, we don't want them here because they're deaf. They can't hear the music. People think that way, and they say it out loud. Hey, what about the NFL? Have you seen my shirt? I love the Giants. It's the Giants football team. This is the I love you sign, gesture. Okay? So these people, this is their logo, human something, I think, went to the NFL, National Football League, and said, hey, why don't we design some shirts for all the teams with this I love you thing, and you can sell them, and it'll be like, supporting deaf people. What do you think? And by golly, the NFL said, we have an NFL shop. I like the idea. Okay. And look what they did. I have the Giants. I'm going to show you this other one. I have another one for you. Yeah, yeah. Jets, Jets, Jets. So we have two. Because we want to support New York, both the Jets and the Giants. I prefer the Giants. A lot of friends I have prefer the Jets, which is absolutely fine. We're all in it together. I don't look great in green. Blue is more my color. What's your favorite team? Well, my favorite color is, you know what I mean. So some of these shirts are uglier than others. I'm not talking about the team. I'm talking about the design. This gray, the green, ugh. I mean, it's a little too ugly for me. Here's the cowboy shirt. Hello. Yeah. Sweet colors. I like it. I like the silver, I like the white, and I like the blue. Steelers, Raiders, Jaguars, Patriots. Now this is looking very fancy. I like the fancier thing. See? Now look at that. I don't like the team because I'm from New York. Bengals, Lions, Giants, Saints, Packers, Vikings. Now this does not look like the right color purple to me. Maybe it's darker in person, and we hope it is, because that is not. Violet is not the color of the Minnesota Vikings. Here's Chicago again. A little too simple for me. I know people, you can make it not quite so bland. The orange, the dark, but okay. I accept it, but it doesn't mean I like it. The Chiefs, again, very popular. That's sort of, I'm from Nebraska, and when you want a professional football team, it's kind of the Chiefs because they're physically the closest. But is it orange or is it red? It looks orange to me. Orange and yellow, not my favorite color. The Ravens, the Browns, the Commanders, Washington Commanders, the Bills, very plain, very ugly. The Chargers, now that's sort of, dare I say, a little bit pretty. That baby blue with the gold. It's plain, but it's sweet. So if you're a fan, Jets, 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 next day delivery. So if you're a fan of American Sign Language, and if you're a fan of the deaf, and if you're a fan of the National Football League, here you go. Go to NFLshop.com and go get yourself a shirt of inclusion. And now we're taking a very brief break, returning in a moment. Hey, and we're back. This is Boles.tv. It's BOLES.television. I'm David Boles, and this is your live stream. Right now, exclusively on YouTube. Now, it's interesting with this YouTube thing. What I'm doing now doesn't show up on the live stream because I'm monitoring it here, like until 30 seconds to a minute later. Now, I don't know how you would do a live chat with people, talking to you and you talking to people when it's not really in real time. So that means that if someone would comment on what you're saying, they're going to be 30 seconds to a minute behind where you are in your head. So I guess it would pop up in chat and you would reply, but the person wouldn't see your reply for like 30 seconds to a minute. I don't know. It's all very confusing. But that's why we're here, to lessen the confusion. So as you may know, as a fan of this Boles.tv live stream, we're big into AI, artificial intelligence. It's going to be the biggest challenge of our lifetime because the people in power, politicians, the companies who create AI, and people with money are going to have access to AI that is very advanced, more advanced than we mere mortals are allowed to use. That is going to be a problem because they're going to be able to do things, magnificent, wonderful, scary, threatening things to us and for us and about us that we cannot really do back to them because we don't have access to that form of advanced AI. Now, if you hear some rattling in the background, they are using cement saws across the street. We have a lot of construction going around. So I apologize for that. So we, as normal, average, human beings, need to embrace AI, learn how to use it to our advantage so we don't get left behind because we're already left behind because the access we have to our AI is not advanced as what other people have who have more access, power, and money. And that's a bad thing. So ChatGPT is a big AI company. They announced this week that they are going to be bringing voice to their ChatGPT bot. Now, you could always, on like iOS, on your iPhone, ask a question using the microphone. But you get back an answer in text. So I guess the new idea is you can ask a question on your microphone and you're going to get a reply in a voice, which theoretically means you could be like walking on the street in a room having a voice conversation with your AI bot. You don't have to be typing anymore. You don't have to be reading anymore. You can just speak your question and you get an answer back from your bot. That's interesting. I guess they're also going to be adding AI image creation through DALL-E, which will be very interesting because right now ChatGPT Plus cannot do images, but it's coming soon. The other thing that's very interesting that I've always wanted to do, and I've been trying to figure out how to do it for about a year, is how to take all of this podcast information that I have based on my voice and translate it into an AI voice. And there were very complicated, very expensive ways you could do that. Like Stephen Hawking, a long time ago when he was alive, had his voice cloned so that when he lost his voice due to his disability, he was able to type in his computer and his computer would voice in his AI voice that was based on his real voice. Sounds confusing. It is. I know. I apologize. And here's the explanation. So, using 11 Labs, you can now create your own voice. And it takes about a month for them to clone your voice. So you have to upload to their servers about 3 hours of you speaking. Now, for a lot of people, that's a lot of talk. But if you have a podcast and there's no music, no background noise, it's just you speaking, it can turn out very interesting and very well. And it sort of has. I've been experimenting with it. I'm going to be doing some Human Mean podcasts using my AI voice. I call myself Atomic Dave. And my AI research team as we create this AI experience that is completely virtual and the uncanny valley. And I'm there doing it, but I'm not the one performing it, if you know what I mean. So this is my voice that has been fine-tuned and cloned, right? And I can release my voice, I guess, to other people if they want to use it. Now, the danger, some might say, is, oh gosh, someone could, take your voice, clone it, and then, make calls, threatening people, saying terrible things, and everyone's going to think it's you. Very true, but it's going to happen anyway. And hopefully there's some kinds of artifacts that can't be audible to the ear, but can be found later in some sort of spectrum analysis to see if there's a watermark, voice print to say, okay, this is not a real voice, this is an aesthetic voice that was created through AI. Deep fakes is what some people call them. So this is, I guess, I deep faked my own voice, trained it, and, video's next. Well, go to take my, hey, we got these live streams of this wild cat. Download it. Make him do weird things. I've already seen some of it happening online with some of the big streamers for fun, where, they can say things and their video is manipulated to make it look like they're saying something else. So once your voice is cloned, then you can create a project and you can do speech synthesis. Now, this is my voice, right? Voice settings. So I'm trying to figure out, there was a project I was working on where I would say something and then I would take a breath. And it was very interesting. And I really don't like the sound of breath in voiceover. But for some reason, in the 3 hours I sent them, I must have breathed something. And the clone got a hold of it and sort of added it. I've only heard it one time, but it was very natural. And I'm trying to figure out how can I invoke my breathing again? I don't know if it's possible, but it happened once. So then I started thinking, how can I get guttural sounds that make speech interesting? And the guttural sounds are like, ope, oh. And I thought, well, maybe I can type them. So I've tried typing them. Hey, yeah, oh, no, well, oof, up, ope. Ope is a Nebraska thing. It doesn't really say ope. It says oopy. And I found out that 3 dots, 3 periods, kind of gives you a little space between the words. So I'll try to play this and see if you can sort of hear it. So you type it in, and then you type generate, and then the AI bot goes and does its thing. As it...
Hey, yeah. No. Oof.
Yeah, see, it says oop instead of ope. So this is very interesting. So you can create guttural sounds if you type them out. Now, one of the projects I did was the Oresteia. Now, the what? It's a three-play sequence, and Oresteia got pronounced by me, my AI bot voice, correctly about half the time. Oresteia. The rest of the time it was mispronounced wildly. But all those ancient names, Agamemnon, those all seem to translate pretty well, pretty well. And this was, of course, all a test to see if any of this would work. So you go to projects, and you can create a project. These are my upcoming projects. Evolution of Thought and Meaning. These are all going to be Human Meaning podcast episodes, by the way. Future Medical, Son of the Morning Star, the Oresteia. Son of the Morning Star is about George Armstrong Custer. So these are all finished. They've all been converted. They are all waiting online to be shared with you later. So let's go to open. Now, here, this is the opening thing that I wrote yesterday, introducing the Oresteia. And so I begin and end each of these AI podcasts with me talking to you, and then we go into the deep dive research part of it. But I'll play this just because it's funny, I think. And you can see how the tone changes because we're trying to have some fun here with the beep boop. I'll play it for you.
Hey yo, hello and welcome, and meow. Glad to have you with us again here on the Human Meme Podcast, influenced and written and produced and voiced with, you guessed it, AI. Oh sure, it's all true. I'm Atomic Dave, and I'm a bot. Beep, boop, blizzard, honk, meow. That's enough proof I'm not real, right? Well, I am real. I am based on the real voice of our favorite David Boles person dude, but I'm the AI version of that maniac, okay? Yes, okay then. Today we're going to discuss, dissect, and examine the Oresteia. Sounds heavy, right? It'll be an easy lift for us if we do it together. So, let's start with a little background history. Oh, and I should warn you now. Some of these names, even the name Oresteia, can be challenging for me to pronounce as an AI Boles bot voice. Yeah? So patience, please. I'm not perfect yet. I'm not human. The Oresteia is a trilogy of Greek tragedies written by Aeschylus in the 5th century BCE, comprising Agamemnon, the libation bearers, and the Eumenides.
Okay, so there you go. Genius, right? Aeschylus is how you pronounce the name. So sometimes when it mispronounces a name, you can kind of try to spell it out in pieces, and the AI bot will pronounce it in pieces. And if you put them all together like a word, then it really mispronounces it. So it's something that's still a challenge, but I don't mind it. And in the introduction, you can regenerate the introduction. Sometimes it's very morose. Welcome, I'm a bot. Other times it's like, hey, I'm a bot. So finding the balance of how the AI conversion decides to present your voice is really the biggest challenge. And every time you regenerate a paragraph, you get charged for it with the characters that you're using. You have a certain amount of characters allotted to you each month. And I think, the average plan to have your voice cloned is, I think, 2 hours of voice product each month, which is enough and fine. But you can see, as this went on, I'm having more fun with it. I can't just go in there and pretend to be me. I could pretend it's me and not my Atomic Dave counterpart, but that isn't fair. That isn't right. It's sort of hiding and cheating, and you don't want that. So it's really interesting. So you heard the Oresteia. That will be coming to you live in a Human Meme podcast soon. And you can subscribe to that podcast by simply going to humanmeme, HUMANMEME.com. Now, another thing I've learned about my AI bot is sometimes, unfortunately, it prefers to pronounce meme as meme. And a lot of people make that mistake. They think that meme, M-E-M-E, is pronounced meme. It's not. It's pronounced meme. And sometimes I would have to type it out in my AI bot and say M-E-E-E-E-M, and then it says human meme, which is very weird because I do pronounce it strangely, but not like that strange. So this experiment will continue. Always identify if you're doing research or creating art or submitting work. Always identify, say, look, this is AI research, written by this bot, by that bot, not my voice, AI voice, and you'll never get in trouble because you're being direct with people. The problem is there are going to be people who try to take their AI voice, their deepfake video, their research project created by AI, and push it off on people as if it is their work and their work alone. And that's wrong, and that's not the right thing to do. I thank you for being here. We've had a wonderful show. If you have any questions, any comments, you know where to find me. Check out asl-opera.com. If you want to help, let me know. We need a lot of help. You can also visit our Discord server. It's discord.gg/BOLES. I'll be posting all the links that I shared with you today in our live links library. So until next time, I'm David Boles. Thank you for being here with me live on Boles.tv. I'll see you again soon.